Xavier Chen, my ex-fiancé, the man who claimed amnesia the day before our wedding. He looks good, confident, laughing easily with Senator Harrison, shaking hands with Mrs. Davenport. He remembers them just fine. He remembers everyone, it seems, except the woman he was supposed to spend his life with. He even wears the diamond pendant. My pendant. The one I saved for months to buy him, clasped around his neck like a trophy, a glittering symbol of a past he pretends doesn't exist. It's a physical ache in my chest seeing it. Our eyes meet across the expanse of champagne flutes and couture gowns. A flicker. I see it. A microsecond of recognition, instantly masked by polite confusion. He offers a tentative, questioning smile, the kind you give a stranger you think you might know. It's a performance, and 5 years ago it would have broken me. Tonight it fuels the ice in my veins. Beside him, clinging possessively to his arm, is my sister, Vanessa. Her smile is triumphant, proprietary. She has no idea who the silent woman watching them from the shadows really is. She just sees another face in the crowd, another guest at a lavish party hosted by the city's newest, most enigmatic billionaire. My phone vibrates softly in my clutch. A notification glows on the screen. Acquisition complete. Zhang Investments now holds controlling interest in Chen Tech Solutions. A slow smile touches my lips, cold and sharp. The chess pieces are finally in position. This isn't the first time I've watched Xavier betray me. But it's the first time in this life. You see, I've been reborn. Sent back 5 years, landing in my old life 6 months before I ever laid eyes on Xavier Chen. Sounds like fiction, I know. But the searing pain of my past life? That was devastatingly real. Like, in that life, the life that was, Xavier faked a catastrophic brain injury, complete with sudden onset amnesia, the morning before we were due to walk down the aisle. Gone, vanished, the man I loved, the future we planned erased, or so I thought. I spent years caring for him, the devoted fiancée tending to her broken partner. I put my life on hold, drained my savings, believed every lie, every pained expression, every frustrated sigh about memories that wouldn't return. The truth, when it finally surfaced, was uglier than any amnesia. An affair with my own sister, Vanessa. The amnesia was their escape hatch, a way for Xavier to ditch me without consequence, and for Vanessa to snag the man she'd always envied me for. The discovery didn't just break my heart, it shattered my world. Emotionally, financially, I was ruined, utterly destroyed by the two people I should have been able to trust most. But then the universe, or fate, or whatever cosmic force is out there hit rewind. I woke up, gasping, not in the threadbare apartment I ended up in, but back in my childhood bedroom, 5 years younger. The grief was still raw, the betrayal a fresh wound. But this time, I had something I didn't have before. Knowledge. Foreknowledge. Grandmother Wong's inheritance, a modest sum I'd squandered trying to fix Xavier in my past life, became my seed capital. I wasn't Olivia Wong anymore, the trusting, naive girl who believed in fairy tales and happy endings. No, that girl died with the discovery of the affair. I became Zhang Li, my grandmother's real surname, a name whispered in elite financial circles in Hong Kong, a fact my social climbing parents conveniently ignored. Using the memories of market shifts, tech booms, and cryptocurrency surges that hadn't happened yet, I turned that inheritance into a fortune. Tech companies poised for explosive growth, overlooked startups that became unicorns. I knew where to put the money. I moved like a ghost through the financial world, building an empire in silence. Zhang Li, cool, calculating, a billionaire strategist playing a long game. My transformation wasn't just financial. The soft waves of hair were gone, replaced by a sleek, razor-sharp black bob. My eyes, once warm brown, were now a startling cool gray thanks to colored contacts. Olivia Wong was dead. Zhang Li was the phoenix. Risen from ashes Olivia didn't even know she'd become. And I had a list. Xavier, Vanessa, my social climbing mother who told me I was lucky anyone wanted me, my dismissive father who always favored Vanessa, and Diane. My best friend, Diane, who held my hand while I cried over Xavier, all while knowing the truth, facilitating their secret meetings. They all had a reckoning coming. This time, I held the cards. The networking event hums with forced connections and the clinking of cheap wine glasses. It's the same place I met Xavier in my first life. Back then, I was Olivia Wong, starry-eyed and easily impressed. Tonight, I am Zhang Li, an enigmatic investor recently returned from overseas, looking for opportunities. My appearance is calculated. The black bob, the gray contacts, the impeccably tailored minimalist pantsuit that speaks of quiet power, not flashy wealth. I let him see me first, a brief glance across the crowded room, just enough to register a new, intriguing face. Then, I make my approach. Strategic, controlled. Mr. Chen? My voice is different too, lower, smoother, with a faint, unplaceable accent I practiced for months. He turns, that familiar, charming smile, already slotting into place. Please call me Xavier. He offers his hand. His touch sends an unwelcome jolt through me, a phantom limb memory of a love that turned toxic. I keep my expression neutral, my handshake firm but brief. The air hangs thick with the aroma of stale coffee and ambition. His sandalwood cologne, the same scent he wore 5 years ago, hits me, a ghost punching me in the gut. I suppress the wave of nausea, the sudden urge to scream or run, focus, calculate. Zhang Li, I say, I've been hearing interesting things about your startup. His eyes light up. That instant spark of interest, not in me, but in the opportunity I represent. It's sickeningly familiar. Chentech, yes. We're doing some exciting work in AI integration. He launches into his pitch, the same one I heard years ago, polished now but still masking the desperation I know lurks beneath. His company is struggling, badly. I know this because my team did their due diligence, and because I remember. I listen patiently, letting him talk. I ask targeted questions, dropping hints about my own investment portfolio, the successful tech ventures I've backed in Asia. I watch his pupils dilate slightly when I mention the estimated worth of my holdings. Pure, unadulterated greed. It's so transparent, it's almost beautiful in its ugliness. I've crafted a backstory for Zhang Li, born overseas, educated in Europe, inheriting a substantial family fortune built in electronics, now looking to diversify into North American tech. Just enough truth woven in. Grandmother Wong was wealthy, just not in a way my parents ever acknowledged, to make it believable. He doesn't recognize me. Not even a flicker now. He's too blinded by the dollar signs, by the potential lifeline I represent. He sees a potential investor, maybe even a romantic prospect to sweeten the deal. He doesn't see the ghost of the woman whose heart he shattered. Perfect. The stage is set. He's chasing the bait, my bait. The satisfaction is cold, precise. The first move in a very long game. Vanessa's apartment is all chrome and glass, overlooking the glittering cityscape. The neon lights outside cast long, distorted shadows across her minimalist furniture. It feels cold, sterile, much like my sister herself. I agreed to this casual get-together, playing the part of the dutiful, slightly less successful younger sister. You won't believe who I met, Liv, she gushes, pouring us both expensive wine, likely chosen to impress. She still calls me Liv, the diminutive name I shed along with my old life. Xavier Chen, the Xavier Chen. His startup is going to be huge. She launches into a breathless description of him, his charm, his ambition. The irony is a lead weight in my stomach. She's recounting their meet cute, completely oblivious to the fact that I am the reason he has the capital to even keep his office lights on, let alone impress women like her. She doesn't know Zhang Li, the mysterious investor, is sitting right across from her. He sounds impressive, I murmur, keeping my tone neutral. Vanessa leans forward, her expression turning conspiratorial, laced with that familiar, condescending pity. Listen, Livy, she says, her voice dropping. A word of sisterly advice? Don't get any ideas about guys like that. They're out of your league. Stick to, artists or something. Someone more on your level. Her words echo the dismissive attitude she always had, the constant implication that I wasn't smart enough, ambitious enough, pretty enough, that I should be grateful for whatever scraps life threw my way. Flash forward. In my old life, in about 3 years from this point, Vanessa, the compassionate nurse, would be instrumental in helping Xavier stage his accident, coaching him on symptoms, feeding the medical team false information. Her capacity for cruelty, masked by that sweet exterior, remains unchanged. Actually, I say, swirling the wine in my glass, Grandmother Wong left me a bit more than we thought. I've been doing some investing myself lately, mostly tech startups. Vanessa stares, momentarily speechless. She always dismissed Grandmother Wong's side of the family, the poor relations. The idea of me having significant money, investing money, clearly throws her off balance. I set my teacup down on the glass coaster, a replica of the one I'm using now. The clink is soft, but carries a weight, a dangerous gentleness, as the outline perfectly described it. It's the first crack in the facade of the meek Olivia she thinks she knows. I'm actually looking for promising ventures to back right now, I add casually, especially in the AI space. Vanessa lets out a short, disbelieving laugh. You? Investing? Liv, be serious. Leave the high finance to people who know what they're doing. Her dismissal seals it. Any lingering, foolish shred of sisterly sentimentality evaporates. You will regret underestimating me, Vanessa. I promise you that. I smile, a placid mask hiding the vow. The bait is set for her, too. Le ciel. The sky. An exclusive restaurant perched atop the city's tallest skyscraper, demanding reservations months in advance and a platinum credit card. Xavier chose it naturally. He arrives 15 minutes late. In my past life, I'd have fretted, thinking I'd done something wrong. Now I recognize it for what it is, a petty power move, establishing dominance, showing me he controls the time, the place, the terms. I sip my water, calm, observing the subtle dance of the waiters, the hushed conversations at nearby tables. I am Zhang Li. I am not impressed. He slides into the seat opposite me, offering a practiced, apologetic smile. Miss Zhang, my apologies. Traffic was brutal. A lie. His driver dropped him off 10 minutes ago. I saw the car. No problem at all, Xavier, I reply smoothly. Shall we get down to business? I slide a sleek, leather-bound folder across the polished mahogany table. Inside rests the contract. $2 million in seed funding for Chentech Solutions. Enough to pull his failing company back from the brink. He picks it up, but I notice the slight tremor in his fingers as he opens it. Despite the confident facade, the designer suit, the expensive watch, he's desperate. He needs this, badly. He scans the first page, his eyes lingering on the dollar amount. Then he looks up, his gaze sharp, suspicious. The charm drops for a second, revealing the calculating mind beneath. $2 million, that's generous. What's your angle, Miss Zhang? What do you get out of this? The waiter arrives, popping the cork on a bottle of vintage champagne Xavier ordered. The bubbles fizz upwards as I meet his gaze. Let's just say I have an eye for potential, I murmur, letting the words hang in the air, deliberately cryptic. Potential others might miss. He doesn't press further, not yet. He's too focused on the immediate prize. He flips through the pages, skimming the dense legal text. He doesn't linger on Clause 7 by the one stipulating that under certain conditions specifically triggered by evidence of financial mismanagement or breach of fiduciary duty, Zhang Investment's stake converts to a controlling majority interest, automatically. He uncaps his pen, the expensive Mont Blanc I once gifted him, a different one, thankfully, but the gesture stings nonetheless. He signs his name with a flourish, blinded by the sudden influx of cash, the rescue rope I've thrown him. As he slides the signed contract back to me, his eyes meet mine again. There's something there, a flicker deep within. Does some subconscious part of him, buried beneath layers of deceit and ambition, recognize the woman he destroyed? Or is his greed simply so vast, so all-consuming, that it blinds him utterly to the danger standing right before him? Either way, it doesn't matter now. He signed. The first, most crucial chess piece is in play. My smile is genuine this time, edged with the thrill of the game. Check. My parents' anniversary dinner, held at their ostentatious country club naturally. It's like a reunion of ghosts from my past life, all gathered under one roof, bathed in the fractured light of an oversized crystal chandelier. Every single person who betrayed me is here. There's father, schmoozing near the bar. In my previous life, after Xavier's accident, he'd sided with him completely, cutting me off financially, telling me I was being hysterical, paranoid. Xavier needs stability right now, Olivia, not your accusations. His stability built on my stolen future. Mother floats between tables, air kissing cheeks. She's the one who, during my engagement, pulled me aside and hissed, "Honestly, Olivia, you're lucky anyone wants you. Don't screw this up." Her ambition for social standing always outweighed any maternal affection. And Diane, my best friend since kindergarten. She's laughing, tossing her hair back, completely at ease. Diane, who listened to my tearful anxieties about Xavier's sudden distance before the wedding, who offered tissues and sympathy, all while knowing he was sleeping with my sister. She arranged their clandestine meetings, covered for them, played the loyal friend to perfection. Vanessa, of course, is already fluttering near a group of doctors, subtly positioning herself, leveraging her nursing credentials to seem indispensable, connected. Even now, years before the faked amnesia in this timeline, she's laying the groundwork, drawn to Xavier like a moth to a particularly destructive flame. I observe them all, a ghost myself, the ghost of my future self, watching the past unfold with chilling clarity. The chandelier overhead seems to mock me, its light splintering, mirroring the broken fragments of these relationships. The conversation at the main family table inevitably turns to Xavier. They're discussing his recent coup landing a significant investment from a mysterious overseas billionaire, a Miss Zhang Li. "I hear she's incredibly wealthy," Vanessa says, her voice tight with poorly concealed jealousy. "Billions, apparently." "Perhaps she has a personal interest in Xavier?" Mother suggests, a sly glint in her eye. "A young, handsome, ambitious man like him." Their laughter echoes around the table, sharp and cruel. It feels like swallowing broken glass. They have no idea they're talking about me, about the lucky daughter, the unremarkable friend. The sheer, oblivious cruelty of it steals my breath for a moment. I excuse myself, needing a moment away from the suffocating hypocrisy. In the cool marble sanctuary of the powder room, I splash cold water on my face, staring at the unfamiliar reflection in the mirror. Zhang Li stares back, her gray eyes calm, assessing. Patience, I remind myself. Perfect revenge requires perfect timing. I catalog their expressions, their words, their interactions. Every betrayer has a weakness, and I will find every single one. A few days later, I'm summoned to Father's study. Leather armchairs, book-lined walls smelling faintly of expensive cigars and old paper. A room designed to intimidate. It used to work. Back when I was Olivia, desperate for his approval, I'd feel small, insignificant within these walls. Now, as Zhang Li, it just seems performative. A stage set for a man playing a role. He gestures for me to sit, pouring himself a brandy. He doesn't offer me one. Some things never change. "Olivia," he begins, swirling the amber liquid. He refuses to use my chosen name, Zhang Li, even in a professional context. It's a deliberate power play, reminding me of my place in his world. "This connection you seem to have made, this Miss Zhang?" He pauses, waiting for me to react, to offer information. I remain silent, my face a polite, neutral mask. "It occurs to me," he continues, leaning back, "that a connection to Zhang Investments could be beneficial to the family business." The irony hangs heavy in the air, thick as the tobacco scent lingering from his earlier cigar. He who meticulously excluded me from any meaningful involvement in the family business, deeming me unsuitable, uninterested. He who told me my focus should be on finding a suitable husband, not on spreadsheets. Now he wants access through me, or rather through the powerful persona he doesn't realize is me. "An introduction," he states, not quite asking. "To Miss Zhang, it would be advantageous." I let the silence stretch, enjoying the faint sheen of sweat on his upper lip. The study doesn't intimidate me anymore. I intimidate him. "Interesting proposition, Father," I finally say, my voice smooth. "But tell me, what would the Wong family business offer someone like Miss Zhang? Someone who, by all accounts, already has everything." His eyes narrow, calculating. He starts listing potential offerings, his network of local political contacts, introductions into certain social circles, maybe some carefully curated market insights. Then he leans forward, lowering his voice. Information, Olivia. Information is always valuable, especially sensitive information. He mentions the Chen family, Xavier's family, long-standing business rivals. He hints at secrets, vulnerabilities, things that could be used as leverage. And then comes the gut punch. I always knew that Chen boy was ambitious, Father muses, staring into his brandy. Maybe a little too ambitious, ruthless even. But the connection was good for us. Necessary. He knew. He suspected Xavier was untrustworthy, possibly even dangerous to my happiness, but encouraged the engagement anyway. For business, for the connection. Another layer of betrayal peels back, raw and stinging. He wasn't just dismissive, he was willing to sacrifice my well-being on the altar of his own ambition. I add it to the mental ledger, his manipulation, his cold calculation. Perhaps Miss Zhang would be interested in certain information, I concede, planting the seed. Let him think he's manipulating the situation, feeding me intel I can pass along. He has no idea I'll use that very information, and his willingness to provide it in his own eventual downfall. Movie night at Diane's apartment, a monthly tradition we upheld for years, even through the worst of times in my past life. Her place smells like cinnamon and vanilla, a cozy, comforting scent that now feels like a lie. Rain patters against the window panes, a melancholy soundtrack to the evening. We're halfway through a cheesy rom-com, sharing a bottle of red wine. Diane refills my glass, then tops up her own. Her hand is trembling slightly. Liv, she starts, avoiding my eyes. There's something I need to tell you. The wine has loosened her tongue just as I anticipated. She takes a deep breath. I've met someone. Here it comes. Oh? I keep my voice light, encouraging. That's great, Di. Who is he? She swirls her wine, staring into the glass. It's complicated. He's unavailable. Technically. She describes him charming, ambitious, exciting. She talks about the illicit thrill, the stolen moments, the feeling of being alive. She doesn't say his name, but she doesn't need to. I know exactly who she's talking about. Xavier. In my previous timeline, their affair began during his supposed recovery, while I was busy playing the devoted nursemaid. It seems in this timeline they haven't wasted any time. The wind howls outside, a counterpoint to the storm brewing inside me. My fingers tighten imperceptibly around the stem of my wine glass. It takes every ounce of control I possess to keep the mask of the supportive friend firmly in place. Wow, Di, I say, injecting false sympathy into my voice. That sounds intense. Are you okay? She finally looks at me, her eyes searching my face for judgment. Seeing only concern, she visibly relaxes, relief flooding her features. It's just hard, you know? Keeping it a secret, especially from you. The irony is almost unbearable. She feels guilty about this betrayal, the one happening now, completely unaware of the deeper, more devastating one she participated in during my past life, and likely would again, given the chance. Hey, I say, reaching across the coffee table to squeeze her hand. No secrets between us, remember? Whatever it is, we'll figure it out. She smiles, a genuine, relieved smile. She thinks our friendship is strengthening, that she's unburdened herself. She has no idea she's just handed me the ammunition I need. I smile back, but it doesn't reach my eyes. Diane is now officially on the ledger, her affair, her deception leverage for later. A luncheon at the country club, Mother insisted, surrounded by society matrons exchanging gossip over wilted salads and iced tea, the air thick with perfume and judgment. I hate these events. The endless parade of forced smiles and competitive comparisons. Predictably, Mother steers me towards a table where Mrs. Hutcherson sits with her son, James. Olivia, darling, you remember James? You two were in Pony Club together? James offers a limp handshake and a condescending smile. Olivia runs a charming little art gallery now, Mother announces to the table, her tone implying it's a quaint, unprofitable hobby. Very creative. The expensive scallop appetizer tastes like ash in my mouth. The condescension is suffocating, a familiar weight I thought I'd escaped. Overhead fans stir the heavy summer air, doing little to alleviate the discomfort of the situation. This is how it started in my last life, too. After Xavier's betrayal left me single and vulnerable, Mother relentlessly pushed unsuitable matches, men chosen purely for their connections or bank balances, never for compatibility or my happiness. James Hutcherson, with his trust fund and air of entitlement, is just the first pawn in her familiar game. But this time, I'm not playing her game. Actually, Mother, I interject smoothly, cutting through the polite chatter. The gallery is doing quite well, but my main focus recently has been managing Grandmother Wong's inheritance. It turned out to be rather more substantial than anticipated. I'm primarily investing in tech startups now. A collective pause hangs over the table. Mother's teacup clatters against its saucer. Public contradiction was never part of her script for me. James Hutcherson, who had looked seconds away from checking his watch, suddenly straightens up, his interest visibly piqued. The word inheritance is like a mating call to his kind. Investing? James leans forward slightly. Fascinating. What sort of valuation are you looking at for potential seed rounds? Mother shoots me a warning glance, a silent command to stop talking, to revert to the role of the demure, slightly embarrassing daughter. I ignore her, launching into a brief, confident explanation of my investment strategy, dropping names of sectors and forecasting potential ROI. The power dynamic at the table shifts palpably. The matrons watch with new curiosity. James hangs on my every word. Mother sits in stunned, furious silence. It's the first time I've publicly asserted my independence, my financial autonomy, directly challenging her control. The seeds of her downfall are sown, not through anger, but through the quiet, undeniable power of wealth she never thought I'd possess. Xavier's office is exactly as I remember it, minimalist luxury, all glass and chrome and expensive, uncomfortable-looking furniture. It's designed to impress, to project success and cutting-edge modernity. It's a facade, just like him. He greets me at the door. Miss Jang, his voice smooth as silk. His hand lingers on my arm fractionally too long as he guides me inside. A calculated touch, designed to create intimacy, to blur the lines between business and personal. I don't react. Employees scurry out of our path, their gazes filled with curiosity. The mysterious billionaire investor, Miss Zhang Li. If they only knew. He insists on making me an espresso himself, using a ridiculously complex machine that hisses and steams like an angry dragon. It's another performance, the charming CEO who's still hands-on, relatable. My team is like family, he says, handing me the small cup. The coffee is bitter, matching the taste in my mouth. I know for a fact, thanks to my internal projections based on his spending habits, that he'll lay off nearly half his family within 6 months if his next funding round fails. He gives me the grand tour, boasting about server capacity and user engagement metrics. All the while, he subtly steers the conversation towards my other investments, probing for details about my portfolio, my connections. He wants more than just my $2 million. He wants access to my network, my perceived Midas touch. In the conference room, seated across the polished table, his knee accidentally brushes mine. Not accidental at all. It's a technique, one he used frequently during our courtship. Testing boundaries, creating a false sense of intimacy. I shift my legs slightly, disengaging without comment. The floor-to-ceiling windows frame the cityscape beyond, a concrete jungle sprawling beneath us. It's a fitting backdrop. Xavier is a predator, thriving in this environment by charming, manipulating, and ultimately devouring the trusting. He did it to me once. He won't get the chance again. Your ambitions are clearly significant, Xavier, I say, deliberately focusing the conversation back on him. Tell me more about your 5-year plan, beyond just Chentech. He leans back, misinterpreting my question, my presence here, as romantic interest. He sees the powerful, attractive investor potentially falling for his charm. He doesn't see the architect of his destruction carefully laying the groundwork for a corporate takeover right under his nose. Let him pursue the personal connection. It only makes the business maneuvers easier. The quarterly review meeting. Fluorescent lights hum overhead in the sterile conference room. Xavier stands at the head of the table, radiating confidence, gesturing towards the projector screen displaying manipulated financial figures. Beside him sits the newly appointed wellness consultant. My sister, Vanessa. My investment, the $2 million seed funding, gave Xavier the breathing room he needed, made him feel secure. Secure enough to get careless. He created this position specifically for her, despite her utter lack of qualifications in corporate wellness, finance, or anything remotely relevant to a tech company. It's blatant nepotism, a way to keep her close, under the guise of professionalism. I watch them. The subtle glances they exchange when they think no one is looking. The way his hand brushes hers accidentally when passing a document. The synchronized way they present certain slides. They've clearly rehearsed this, spending time together outside of work, just like before. The air in the room grows thick, heavy with their shared secrets. Director Harrison, an older man easily charmed, leans over and whispers to me, "Wonderful synergy between them, isn't it? So glad Xavier brought Miss Wong on board. Your investment really allowed him to strengthen the team." I offer a tight smile. Harrison mistakes it for modest agreement. He doesn't see the rage simmering beneath the surface, the memory of finding those text messages in my past life. He's asleep. Meet me downstairs. Almost caught, that was close. Flashing behind my eyes, history repeating itself, sickeningly predictable. Vanessa hired within weeks of them reconnecting through my investment. Xavier clicks to the next slide, detailing ambitious international expansion plans. Plans utterly unsupported by the actual non-manipulated data my team has access to. The spreadsheet figures swim before my eyes, blurring with the red haze of anger. Enough! I raise my hand, my voice cutting calmly through Xavier's presentation. Excuse me, Xavier. Before we move on to expansion, I have a few questions about these Q3 projections. There seem to be some inconsistencies I'd like to clarify. Silence descends. All eyes turn to me. Xavier's confident expression flickers. Vanessa stiffens beside him. The first move. Time to unravel their carefully constructed charade. Chaos erupts days later. An emergency board meeting is called. Someone, an anonymous whistleblower apparently, has leaked documents hinting at financial mismanagement within Chen Tech. Creative accounting, inflated revenue projections, funds diverted for consulting fees paid to a certain wellness consultant. Xavier stands before the board, his usual charm replaced with a controlled panic. "These allegations are completely unfounded," he insists, his voice a little too loud, his knuckles white where he grips the edge of the lectern. "This is a malicious attack, clearly designed to destabilize the company just as we're poised for growth." Vanessa sits rigidly beside the company lawyer, paler than usual, refusing to meet anyone's eye. I maintain my carefully cultivated expression, concerned, slightly confused, but ultimately supportive of Xavier. The objective investor caught in unexpected crossfire. Rain lashes against the tall boardroom windows, mirroring the storm unfolding within. "This is deeply concerning, Xavier," I say, my tone measured. "Investor confidence is paramount. Perhaps an independent external audit would be the quickest way to clear the air? Put these rumors to rest definitively?" The suggestion hangs in the air, an audit. The very thing Xavier fears most. His expensive cologne suddenly seems inadequate to mask the scent of fear radiating from him. "An external audit?" he sputters, scrambling for alternatives. "Surely that's an overreaction. An internal review would be sufficient, less disruptive." I watch his desperation, a cold satisfaction settling within me. This is justice, served cold and corporate. Later, in the corridor, I corner him. Fluorescent lights cast harsh, unflattering shadows across his features. "Xavier," I murmur, placing a hand lightly on his arm, feigning concern. "This is terrible, but don't worry. I trust you completely. We'll get through this." He looks relieved, grasping at the lifeline of my apparent support. "Thank you, Lee. Your confidence means everything right now." He lowers his voice. "Perhaps we could have dinner, just us? Discuss strategies to navigate this privately?" "Of course," I agree, adding a touch of reluctance. "If you think it would help." As he walks away, visibly calmer, I catch Vanessa watching us from the doorway of the break room, her eyes narrowed with jealousy. Perfect. Let them both believe I'm on Xavier's side. Let them underestimate me. Neither of them suspects that the anonymous leak came from a secure server traced back to a shell corporation I control, or that the most respected forensic accounting firm in the city is already under contract, provided with specific areas to investigate, ready to move the moment the board approves the audit I just helpfully suggested. The trap is perfectly set, Maison Laurent. Xavier chose the venue for our strategy dinner. Dark wood paneling, hushed atmosphere, ridiculously overpriced wine list. He thinks the intimate setting, the implied romance, will help him persuade me to shut down the audit. He thinks he can charm his way out of this like he always does. He doesn't know I booked the adjacent private dining room hours ago. He doesn't know my legal team is currently setting up monitors and recording equipment next door, waiting for my signal. He pours more wine, a deep burgundy that costs more than my old monthly rent. Lee, this audit, it's completely unnecessary, he insists, leaning forward, his expression earnest. It sends the wrong message to the market, makes us look weak. Candlelight flickers across his face, catching the desperation in his eyes. The rich aroma of truffle and butter hangs heavy in the air from appetizers I haven't touched. I continue playing my part. The slightly overwhelmed, confused investor, caught in a situation beyond her expertise. I understand your concerns, Xavier, I say slowly, but the allegations are serious. If they're false, the audit proves it definitively. I trail off, letting the implication hang. He shakes his head vehemently. They are false. Someone is trying to sabotage me. Sabotage us. Then, I slide another folder across the table. Not the contract this time. This one contains printouts, bank statements, offshore account numbers, invoices from shell corporations, all meticulously documenting how a significant portion of my $2 million investment was funneled out of Chentech and into Xavier's personal accounts. Used for luxury cars, lavish trips, expensive gifts, including several substantial payments to one Vanessa Wong. His face goes slack. His left eye begins to twitch. That tiny, involuntary tick I remember from our past. The one that always gave away his stress, his lies. These must be forgeries, he stammers, but his voice lacks conviction. He flips through the pages, the color draining from his face as the evidence mounts. The restaurant's subtle background music suddenly seems loud, intrusive, failing to mask the sound of his increasingly shallow breathing. I just don't understand, Xavier, I say, my voice laced with false concern. Why would someone go to such lengths to frame you? He reaches across the table, grabbing my hand. The familiar move, distraction, manipulation. Lee, you have to believe me, I'm being set up. Panic gives way to calculation in his eyes. He's formulating a new strategy, a new lie. It must be someone inside the company, someone with access. He pauses, then lowers his voice, leaning closer. Vanessa, it has to be Vanessa. She had access to the accounts. She felt entitled after I ended things between us. Throwing my sister under the bus, just like that. The sheer, predictable ruthlessness of it almost makes me laugh out loud. He would sacrifice anyone to save himself. Excuse me, I say, gently pulling my hand away. I need a moment. I walk towards the restroom, but instead slip into the adjacent private dining room. My lead counsel, Helen Sharp, looks up from her laptop. 3 other lawyers are poised, documents ready. He just implicated Wong, I state quietly, and confirmed the affair. We have it recorded. Helen nods, a grim satisfaction on her face. Good. We have the injunctions ready. The evidence of the larger fraud is compiled. We file first thing in the morning. The final pieces click into place. Time for the public execution. The headlines explode the next morning. Tech wunderkind Xavier Chen faces fraud allegations. Investor funds misappropriated at Chen Tech. Internal scandal rocks promising startup. Chen Tech headquarters is besieged. Reporters swarm the entrance, microphones thrust forward, camera flashes creating a blinding strobe effect. I watch it all unfold from the tinted windows of my limousine parked across the street, calmly sipping jasmine tea from a thermos. My security team installed micro cameras throughout the Chen Tech offices months ago, disguised as smoke detectors and light fixtures. I have a front row seat to the implosion. The boardroom, usually a place of controlled discussion, is now a battleground. Directors shout accusations, demanding answers. Xavier and Vanessa sit side by side at the table, looking shell-shocked, their carefully constructed world crumbling around them in real time. Their faces are pale, drawn. My phone, resting on the seat beside me, buzzes relentlessly. Text messages and missed calls from Xavier. They grow increasingly frantic as the hours pass and I remain unreachable. Lee, where are you? We need to talk now. Pick up the phone. This is a misunderstanding. Lee, please, I can explain everything. Inside the besieged office, according to my live feed, Vanessa oscillates wildly. 1 minute, she's staunchly defending Xavier to stunned colleagues, insisting it's all a smear campaign. The next, she's cornering him in his glass-walled office, her voice rising, questioning his actions, demanding to know if he did use her, if he did frame her. The division between them, the seeds of doubt I planted, are sprouting exactly as planned. By the time the market closes, Chentech stock is in a freefall, his paper fortune evaporating. That evening, he shows up at my penthouse unannounced, somehow bluffing his way past the lobby security. He looks terrible. Disheveled, tie askew, eyes wild. The scent of expensive whiskey precedes him into the vast living room. Lee, he pleads, his voice hoarse, you have to help me. You have to tell the board this is a mistake. You know me. You know I would never intentionally mislead you. The irony is staggering. 5 years ago, I was the one pleading, begging him to remember our love, our life, while he stared back with blank, deceitful eyes. The city lights glitter far below my floor-to-ceiling windows, indifferent to his personal apocalypse. He takes a step closer, his desperation palpable. Then, he does something I never expected. He sinks to his knees, actually kneels on the marble floor, clutching at my hands. Please, Lee, Olivia, I'll do anything, anything. He used my old name, a desperate gamble. I savor the moment, the reversal of power absolute. I let him kneel there, remembering how I knelt by his hospital bed, praying for his recovery, completely fooled. Anything? I repeat softly. Hope flares in his eyes. Palpable relief washes over his face. Yes, anything you ask. He agrees without hesitation, without even knowing the price. There might be an arrangement, I say, choosing my words with precision. A way to mitigate some of the damage, but it requires decisive action. What? What do I need to do? I look down at him, my expression unreadable. Vanessa Wong, she must resign immediately, with a public statement taking full responsibility for the accounting irregularities. Claim she acted alone, misled you. His eyes widen slightly, then narrow. He understands. Sacrifice Vanessa to save himself. A flicker of hesitation, perhaps? No, just calculation. Done, he says, his voice flat. The first cycle is complete. He throws his lover, my sister, to the wolves to save his own skin. Both professionally damaged, both turning against each other, and both still utterly clueless about who truly orchestrated their downfall. Father's study feels smaller now, less imposing. Or maybe I've just grown larger. He's pacing, brandy sloshing precariously in his glass as he gestures wildly. Mother sits rigidly in one of the leather armchairs, her disapproval a tangible force field. The air smells of old books, expensive liquor, and profound disappointment. Theirs, not mine. How could you let this happen, Olivia? Father bellows, slamming his hand on the antique desk. You associate yourself with this investor, and suddenly Vanessa's career is destroyed, dragged through the mud. He's accusing me, blaming Zhang Li and, by extension, me, for the fallout from Xavier throwing Vanessa under the bus. They don't care that Vanessa was complicit. That evidence suggests she was skimming from department budgets with Xavier's full knowledge long before the fraud became public. No, in their eyes, the only crime is getting caught and embarrassing the family. It echoes my past life so perfectly, it's almost nauseating. After Xavier's accident, they abandoned me, siding with the charming fiancé over their own daughter's pain and suspicion. Now they're defending Vanessa, the golden child, despite clear evidence of her wrongdoing. They always choose the path of least resistance, the one that best protects their precious social standing. This inheritance, Mother says, her voice like ice chips. It's made you unrecognizable, hard, calculating. Good, I think, better than being weak and broken. The grandfather clock in the corner ticks loudly, accusingly, marking the seconds of their hypocrisy. Our family attorney, Father announces, stopping his pacing to loom over me, is reviewing Grandmother Wong's will, the terms under which you gained control of the assets. There may be grounds to challenge it. You seem unstable, this vendetta against your sister. A threat. They're trying to seize my financial independence, the very source of my power over them, because I won't play their game, won't protect Vanessa's reputation at the expense of the truth. Thunder rumbles outside, a perfect, pathetic fallacy for the storm inside the room. They've chosen her, again, over me, again. I rise slowly, calmly smoothing my skirt. An interesting legal strategy, Father, I say, my voice even. Before you proceed, perhaps you should have your attorney review the recent donation patterns from the Wong Family Foundation, particularly the transfers to certain offshore holding companies over the past decade. Confusion flickers across their faces. They have no idea I spent months untangling the web of shell corporations Father used for years to embezzle funds from the very foundation established in Grandmother Wong's name. Funds meant for charity, siphoned off to support their lavish lifestyle. I don't know what you're talking about, Father blusters, but his eyes betray him. Don't you? I give them a cool smile. Perhaps the foundation's auditors might be interested. The atmosphere in the room shifts, crackles. The ticking clock suddenly sounds ominous. I turn and walk towards the door, leaving them standing there, trapped between their inadequate schemes and the dawning realization that I know far more than they ever suspected. The stage is set for their financial ruin. I find Diane at the small, trendy art gallery I still nominally run, a holdover from Olivia Wong's life, now mostly managed by a competent assistant. It provides a useful cover, a place to seem normal. She finds me adjusting a painting, arranging a new exhibition. The gallery's soft track lighting creates an illusion of calm, a stark contrast to the chaos swirling around Chentek and my family. Liv, my God, are you okay? Diane rushes over, her face etched with concern. I heard about the mess at Xavier's company and Vanessa. And now your parents? What's going on? Perfect cue. I turn, letting my hand tremble slightly as I fuss with the picture frame. I allow a calculated vulnerability into my expression, letting my shoulders slump. It's all just so much, Di, I whisper, my voice catching. Xavier, Vanessa, and now Dad is threatening legal action over grandmother's inheritance. He thinks I'm behind everything, that I'm trying to ruin Vanessa. I let a single tear escape, tracing a path down my cheek. I never wanted any of this, I choke out. I just wanted to invest, maybe do some good. Sympathy floods Diane's eyes, immediately replacing any lingering suspicion she might have harbored about my sudden wealth or connection to the elusive Miss Jang. It's exactly the reaction I planned for. Afternoon sunlight streams through the skylight, illuminating the dust motes dancing between us and the deception. Diane slips effortlessly into her familiar role, the protector, the loyal best friend. Oh, Liv, that's horrible. Your own father? She puts her arm around me. You can't deal with this alone. For a fleeting second, watching her genuine concern, I almost reconsider. Could I spare Diane? Was her betrayal born of weakness? Of manipulation by Xavier? Rather than inherent malice? The memory of her lies, her complicity in my past life's destruction, hardens my resolve. No, she made her choice. My calculated tears prompt the expected response. Listen, she says urgently, why don't you come stay with me for a while, just until things settle down? Get away from your family, clear your head. Her apartment building. Conveniently, it also houses the discreet downtown offices of one of my primary shell corporations. Staying with her provides the perfect cover, allowing my tech team closer access to monitor her communications, her devices, her interactions with Xavier and Vanessa. I look up at her through tear-filled eyes. Oh, Di, would you? That would be amazing. Our reflection stares back from the polished surface of a nearby sculpture. Two women embracing in a parody of friendship. Only one of us understands the true nature of the game being played. I accept her offer with carefully measured gratitude. The chess piece moves into position for Diane's downfall. The guest bedroom in Diane's apartment is tastefully decorated, blandly comforting. It serves as my base of operations for the next phase. Late at night, long after Diane's soft snores drift from the master bedroom, I slip out. The only light comes from the eerie blue glow of her laptop screen in the otherwise silent apartment. The distant hum of city traffic a low thrum beneath the quiet. Accessing her laptop is simple. Keylogging software, installed remotely weeks ago when I helped her fix a printer issue, captured all her passwords. Confirmation is swift. Encrypted emails and chat logs reveal ongoing correspondence between Diane and Xavier. Their plan is audacious. Exploit my apparent vulnerability and distress over the family lawsuit. Diane is tasked with convincing me, her distraught best friend, to sign over my voting rights in Chentech to Xavier, temporarily, of course, just to protect my assets from my grasping family while the inheritance lawsuit plays out. Xavier would then regain control, oust the troublesome board members, and bury the fraud allegations. Diane's reward? A permanent, high-paying position at his side, and perhaps, she hopes, his affection. It's pathetic, really, predictable. Working quickly, silently, I forward copies of their incriminating communications to my secure server. Then, I implement the next stage. Using sophisticated spoofing techniques, I begin planting a subtle digital trail. Carefully crafted emails, backdated server logs, altered transaction records, all designed to implicate Diane in the original embezzlement scheme alongside Xavier. It paints a picture of her having direct access to the diverted funds, of her being the primary architect of the shell company network. An anonymous tip containing excerpts of this fabricated evidence is scheduled to be delivered electronically to the Chen Tech board members precisely at 9 a.m. tomorrow. I wipe my digital footprints, shut down the laptop, and slip back into the guest room undetected. The following morning, news arrives via a frantic call from Diane. She's been summoned to an emergency board meeting. Accusations are flying. She sounds terrified. "Oh my God, Liv, they think I was involved," she cries into the phone. "That's ridiculous." I feign outrage. "Don't worry, Di. I'll come with you. For moral support, we'll sort this out." The boardroom is even more tense than before. The fabricated documents appear on the main presentation screen. Transaction records showing funds flowing into accounts Diane allegedly controlled. Emails outlining the embezzlement plan, seemingly sent from her work address. Xavier stares at the screen, his face a mask of shock. This definitely wasn't part of his plan with Diane. "I didn't do this," Diane cries, tears streaming down her face. "These aren't real. Xavier, tell them." But the evidence looks damning. That's when I make my move, stepping forward with a look of dawning, horrified realization. "Wait a minute," I say slowly, looking from the screen to Xavier, then to Diane. "Xavier, you were the one pushing for Vanessa to take the fall. Is it possible? Could you have—" "Diane, did he set you up? To shift the blame completely?" The seed of doubt lands perfectly. Xavier sputters a denial, but it sounds weak, unconvincing. Diane turns on him, her fear morphing into furious betrayal. "You bastard!" she screams. "You told me we were in this together. You used me." The division is complete. They turn on each other just as I planned. And incredibly, ridiculously, both of them still look towards me, Zhang Li, the powerful investor, the supportive friend, for help. Neither suspects the true architect of their mutual destruction is standing right there, offering sympathetic glances. The financial news outlets have a field day. Executive assistant implicated in deepening tech fraud scandal. Close friend of heiress investor accused of embezzlement. Diane's face is splashed across websites, her professional reputation shredded. Fired from Chentech, facing potential legal charges, ostracized by former colleagues. Naturally, I offer her refuge. "Come stay with me, Di," I insist, playing the part of the steadfast friend. "You can use the guest suite in my penthouse. You need a safe place right now." She accepts gratefully, tearfully, completely unaware she's walking straight into the lion's den. A few nights later, fueled by expensive wine and despair in my luxurious living room, the full confession pours out. The affair with Xavier, how it started, how he manipulated her, promised her the world. And the final bitter twist? Now that she's implicated, Xavier denies everything. He claims she was obsessed with him, that she acted alone out of jealousy and greed. He's cut her off completely. I offer calculated sympathy, nodding in all the right places, murmuring reassurances. My penthouse, however, is equipped with state-of-the-art discrete recording devices. Every tearful word, every damning admission about Xavier's real involvement is captured. The next morning, a lifeline appears. An unexpected, almost miraculous international job offer arrives via email for Diane, a senior executive assistant position at a major competitor based in Singapore. Excellent salary, relocation package, a chance to escape the scandal and start fresh. It's an offer too good to be true, arranged, of course, by me through several layers of corporate cutouts. Diane is ecstatic, weeping with gratitude. Liv, you saved my life. I don't know how I can ever repay you. Don't be silly, Di, I say gently. We're friends. But if you really want to help, any information you have about Xavier's less reputable business dealings, offshore accounts, tax irregularities, anything that might help ensure he faces proper justice, that would be valuable. Eager to prove her loyalty, eager for revenge against the man who betrayed her, Diane spills everything. Details of hidden accounts in the Caymans, methods he used to evade taxes, names of other collaborators, it's all meticulously recorded. I send the recording along with corroborating evidence anonymously to the relevant international financial authorities. I see Diane off at the airport, a final hug, promises to visit. Her last text message before boarding reads, "Thank you for everything, Liv. I owe you my life. Forever grateful." Days later, news breaks of a massive international investigation into Xavier Chen's finances, triggered by an anonymous tip. Tax evasion, money laundering, authorities in multiple countries are involved. Diane, arriving in Singapore to start her dream job, discovers the position doesn't exist. The company has no record of her. Her visa is invalid. Stranded in a foreign country, her name now surfaces in the international investigation as a key accomplice to Xavier's financial crimes, based on the information she provided. From my penthouse window, overlooking the city, I watch the news reports. A cold, clean satisfaction fills me. Another chess piece, ruthlessly removed from the board. Permanently. The intercom buzzes late one rainy night. It's Vanessa, unannounced. Security lets her up, protocol for family, even estranged family. She looks like a drowned rat. Rainwater drips from her soaked trench coat onto my pristine marble floor. Her hair is plastered to her head, mascara streaked down her cheeks. The picture of desperation. "Jiang Li, Miss Jiang, please, you have to help me," she begs, her voice trembling. She still hasn't made the connection. She doesn't see Olivia. She just sees the powerful billionaire who employed her, the woman Xavier was trying to charm, the woman somehow connected to her downfall. Her career as a wellness consultant is obviously over. Her reputation is ruined. She's likely facing legal bills she can't afford. She tells me she lost her apartment, that her supposed friends have abandoned her. Predictably, she blames Xavier for everything. He manipulated her, he forced her to sign things, he threw her under the bus. She paints herself as the innocent victim in his predatory game. "I can give you information," she says, her eyes darting around the opulent penthouse, assessing its value. "Inside information about my parents, about Xavier, anything you want. Just help me. I need money, a place to stay." She reveals that our parents, panicked by the escalating financial investigations into Xavier and the potential blowback on their own shady dealings, are making plans. Plans to quietly liquidate assets, transfer funds offshore, potentially leave the country before the authorities close in. Perfect. She hands me the final piece needed to complete the family revenge cycle on a silver platter. "Perhaps," I say slowly, pretending to consider her offer. "Perhaps we can come to some temporary arrangement." I offer her a temporary solution, a small allowance, use of a company apartment downtown. Just enough to keep her close, keep her talking. While I plan the final trap, 1 year later, the Grand Astoria Ballroom, dripping with crystal and history. Tonight, it hosts the inaugural gala for the Wang Zhang Foundation for Financial Justice, my foundation, funded by my fortune. The city's elite are out in force, a sea of tuxedos and designer gowns, sipping champagne and making connections. Xavier Chen is here, guest of honor. He accepted the invitation eagerly, seeing it as a chance to rehabilitate his image after the financial scandals nearly destroyed him. He managed to avoid jail time, thanks to scapegoating Diane and cutting deals, but his reputation remains tarnished. He sees tonight as a step back towards legitimacy, orchestrated by the powerful Miss Jiang Li, who seems to have inexplicably forgiven his past transgressions. He has no idea he's walking into the final, most public act of my revenge. Vanessa is here too, hovering near me, acting as my temporary assistant. The small allowance and apartment bought her compliance, her silence. She's subdued, wary, but still hasn't recognized me. She's just grateful for the lifeline, however precarious. My parents are here reluctantly, cornered by mounting evidence of their own financial misdeeds, leaked anonymously, of course. They accepted my offer of a truce, a generous donation to their legal defense fund in exchange for their presence tonight. They look uncomfortable, out of place amongst the genuine philanthropists, but desperate to maintain appearances. And Diane? She's here too, in a way. Her pale, haunted face stares out from a tablet carried discreetly by one of my security personnel near the main stage. A live video call from Singapore, where she remains trapped in legal limbo, her passport confiscated. She thinks she's calling in to offer a tearful, pre-recorded statement of support for the foundation, a plea for help brokered by my lawyers. She doesn't know her feed is live, her image broadcast to hidden monitors. Media crews document the glittering affair. My entrance causes a stir. I'm wearing white. A stunning, custom-made gown, ethereal and stark against my black hair and cool gray eyes. It's an echo of the wedding dress I never got to wear. Xavier gives a speech full of platitudes about integrity in business and second chances. The irony is so thick you could cut it with a butter knife. In the center of the room, a massive, intricately carved ice sculpture, a phoenix rising from flames, slowly melts throughout the evening, drip by agonizing drip. The string quartet begins playing a familiar melody, our song. The one Xavier and I danced to on our third date. The one he requested. He glances at me, a flicker of surprise, maybe sentimentality. I meet his gaze, my expression serene. My seating arrangement is meticulous. Xavier, Vanessa, my parents, all seated together at the main table, right under the spotlight. After the dinner plates are cleared, I step up to the podium. I announce a major donation from the foundation to fund groundbreaking medical research. Specifically, I state, my eyes finding Xavier's across the room. Research into complex neurological conditions, particularly memory disorders and dissociative amnesia. A wave of murmurs ripples through the crowd. Xavier shifts uncomfortably in his seat. The subject hits a little too close to home. Then, I introduce my special guest speaker. A leading neurologist whose work in traumatic brain injury is unparalleled. Dr. Eris Thorne. Dr. Thorne walks onto the stage. He's the same neurologist who treated Xavier after his faked accident 5 years ago in my past life. His eyes scan the audience, landing on Xavier at the main table. A look of profound confusion crosses the doctor's face. He clearly recognizes his former patient, the patient who presented with catastrophic, debilitating amnesia, now sitting there looking perfectly healthy, lucid, the picture of corporate success. Seeds of doubt planted. Whispers erupt around the tables near Xavier. He tries to shrink back to make himself smaller, but it's too late. He makes a move as if to stand, perhaps feign illness, but two discreet security personnel subtly block the nearest exit. The stage is set, the trap is sprung, time for the unmasking. During a lull in the program, as Dr. Thorne fields polite questions, Xavier corners me. He finds me in the venue's secluded library, pretending to admire the leather-bound first editions. His charm is gone, replaced by a cold, simmering fury. "What the hell was that, Lee?" he hisses, grabbing my arm. "The donation for amnesia research? Bringing Thorne here? Are you deliberately trying to humiliate me?" His eyes bore into mine, searching. For the first time, the polite confusion is gone. Suspicion hardens his features. "Who are you? This isn't just about business, is it? You've been targeting me from the start." I slowly turn to face him, pulling my arm from his grasp. I meet his gaze steadily. Then, deliberately, I reach up and remove the colored contact lenses. My natural, warm brown eyes, the eyes he once claimed to love, stare back at him. Recognition dawns slow and horrifying across his face. His breath hitches. "Olivia," he whispers, the name barely audible. "No, impossible. You can't be." "Hello, Xavier," I say softly. "Surprised to see me?" I tell him then. Everything. The rebirth. Waking up 5 years ago. The knowledge I brought back. The fortune I built as Zhang Li. The plan, meticulously executed, step by step, to dismantle the lives of everyone who betrayed me. Disbelief wars with dawning terror in his eyes. Then, predictably, calculation takes over. How can he salvage this? How can he turn this impossible situation to his advantage? He reaches for me, his expression shifting into one of pained sincerity. Liv, Olivia, I never stopped loving you, not really. The amnesia, Vanessa, it was a mistake. A terrible mistake. But my feelings for you, they were real. I laugh, a cold, sharp sound that echoes in the quiet library. Save it, Xavier. That performance doesn't work on me anymore. I gesture towards a large, antique mirror on the wall. It flickers, then transforms into a screen. Security footage begins to play. Grainy, secret footage from years ago. Xavier meeting Vanessa in secret hotel rooms during his recovery. Xavier coaching her on what to tell the doctors. Xavier laughing with her about how gullible poor Olivia was. And clearer footage from just weeks ago. Him in my penthouse, confessing to faking the amnesia, begging for my help, using my old name. Panic flares in his eyes as he realizes the sheer, inescapable weight of the evidence against him. He knows I have everything. We can fix this, Olivia, he says desperately, grabbing my hands again. Marry me. For real this time. We can merge our assets, present a united front. I'll tell everyone I recovered my memory because of you, because of our enduring love. I pull my hands away, wiping them discreetly on my gown. Firstly, I say, my voice clipped and precise, I am not Olivia Wong anymore. Olivia Wong died 5 years ago thanks to you and my sister. My name is Zhang Li. His eyes widen further. Zhang Li wasn't just an alias, it was real. Secondly, I continue, my grandmother wasn't just some relative my parents ignored. She was Zhang Mei Ling, a silent partner in one of Hong Kong's largest electronics firms. The inheritance wasn't modest, it was substantial. Hidden offshore, managed by trustees who only answered to me upon my majority or upon proof of my reincarnation, apparently. A rather eccentric clause, wouldn't you agree? My family never knew its true extent. The final pieces click into place for him. The money, the power, the ease with which I took control of his company, orchestrated his downfall, manipulated his reputation. It wasn't just luck or business acumen. It was me, Olivia, all along. He sags against a bookshelf, the fight draining out of him. What do you want? He whispers, the plea revealing the true spineless coward beneath the bravado. Mercy. Forgiveness. I tilt my head. No, but I might consider keeping some of this private. Your faked amnesia, the depth of your personal betrayals. The fraud is public record now, but perhaps the world doesn't need all the sordid details. Hope flickers again. What do I have to do? One final task, I say. Go back out there, to the gala, to the stage, and tell everyone the truth. Tell them you faked the amnesia to avoid our wedding. Tell them about the affair with Vanessa. Confess. He stares at me, horrified. Public humiliation versus utter ruin. Seeing no alternative, no escape hatch left, he gives a slow, defeated nod. All right, I'll do it. We return to the main ballroom. Xavier follows me like a condemned man walking to the gallows, his face pale, his steps heavy. The string quartet is playing something innocuous now. The party is in full swing, laughter and conversation filling the air. I walk directly to the stage, picking up a champagne flute from a passing tray and tapping it gently with a knife. The clear chime cuts through the noise, drawing attention. A hush falls over the room. Esteemed guests, I begin, my voice calm and amplified by the microphone. Thank you all for joining us tonight to launch a foundation very close to my heart. We had a fascinating insight from Dr. Thorne earlier. And now, our guest of honor, Mr. Xavier Chen, has something he'd like to share about his own personal journey. I give Xavier a pointed look. He approaches the podium slowly, reluctantly. Beside me, I give a subtle nod to the AV technician hidden in the wings. As Xavier opens his mouth to speak, the large screens flanking the stage flicker to life. Not with the foundation logo, but with a montage. Surveillance photos, Xavier and Vanessa laughing together on a business trip during his supposed amnesia. holding hands in a dimly lit restaurant, kissing passionately in a parking garage. Medical records appear, scans showing no significant brain injury, neurological reports highlighting inconsistencies with profound memory loss. Then, banking records, transfers of funds from my accounts I gave him access to during his illness into his offshore holdings. Dates coinciding perfectly with the faked amnesia period. Gasps ripple through the crowd. People turn to stare at the main table. Vanessa looks horrified, seeing her own complicity displayed for hundreds of the city's elite to witness. My parents shrink in their seats, their faces flushed with shame and embarrassment, as their own encouragement of the relationship, their dismissal of my concerns, is implicitly exposed by the timeline. On the tablet held by security, Diane's face is ashen as stills from the library footage appear, showing Xavier admitting the truth. Xavier stares at the screens, momentarily frozen. He tries to speak, to deny it, but the evidence is overwhelming. He falters, stammering, unable to form a coherent sentence under the weight of hundreds of judging eyes. I step forward again, taking the microphone. My voice rings out clear and steady. For 5 years, many of you have known me as Zhang Li, but that is only part of my story. I pause, letting the anticipation build. My real name is Olivia Wong. Silence. Utter, stunned silence. Then slowly, deliberately, I reach up and remove the sleek black wig. My own hair, longer now, wavy brown, tumbles down around my shoulders. The final confirmation. Collective shock registers on the faces of Xavier, Vanessa, my parents, Diane, on the tablet screen. They finally understand. The woman they betrayed, the woman they dismissed, the woman they thought destroyed, is standing before them, powerful, wealthy, and in complete control. The universe, it seems, granted me a second chance. I continue, my voice resonating with quiet power. An opportunity to return, to seek justice. The resources I used to build my company, this foundation, they came from leveraging knowledge of a future you all tried to steal from me. The media erupts. Cameras flash, reporters shout questions. The carefully orchestrated gala descends into chaos. Security discreetly surrounds the main table. Xavier starts protesting, shouting denials, but his voice is lost in the uproar. 2 guards gently, firmly escort him from the premises, ignoring his struggles. The final chess pieces slam into place. Checkmate. The morning after the gala, my penthouse is serene. Sunlight streams through the panoramic windows, illuminating the aftermath. News channels are ablaze with the story. Billionaire heiress reveals shocking deception. Society shaken by gala confession. The rebirth of Olivia Wong. My phone rings constantly, but not with frantic calls from betrayers. It's board members from the various companies I control, pledging loyalty, expressing admiration for my strategic brilliance. It's international partners, intrigued and impressed by the audacity, the sheer scale of my long game. The carefully constructed anonymity of Zhang Li is gone, but in its place, the true extent of my power is revealed. The media scrambles to piece together the puzzle of my hidden empire. It's not just Chen Tech, now firmly under my control. It's hotel chains across Asia, built on foreknowledge of tourism booms. It's biotech startups revolutionizing personalized medicine, funded before their breakthroughs. It's patents for renewable energy technologies that are now worth billions. It's a burgeoning media conglomerate, subtly shaping narratives, quietly acquiring influence. The full scope of the Wangzhang fortune, built silently over 5 years, becomes public knowledge. I am not just an heiress, I am a self-made titan, built on the ashes of betrayal. The intercom buzzes. It's Vanessa. This time, when she sees me, really sees me, Olivia, without the wig, without the contacts, she recoils as if struck. Olivia, how can you be alive? She whispers, tears welling in her eyes. We thought, after the accident, they said you... Revelation dawns. They didn't just think I was heartbroken or financially ruined in my past life. They thought I was dead. Perhaps a convenient accident, a tragic consequence of my unstable state after Xavier's betrayal? The details don't matter. The implication is horrifying. Did they mourn, or did they feel relief? The universe granted me a second chance, Vanessa. I repeat coolly, a chance to right the wrongs. She starts stammering, trying to backtrack, claiming misunderstanding, manipulation. Xavier twisted everything. I never meant. I hold up my phone, pressing play. Her own voice fills the room, a recording from months ago, caught by Diane's compromised devices. Vanessa giggling with Xavier, planning how to keep me away from him, mocking my naivety. She'll never suspect a thing. Poor, trusting Olivia. The color drains from her face. There's no escape from the truth. My parents' frantic calls appear on my phone screen, caller ID flashing insistently. I ignore them. An email arrives from Diane, a desperate, rambling plea for extraction from Singapore, offering more secrets, anything, in exchange for help. Xavier's legal team sends a formal request for an urgent meeting to discuss potential resolutions. It's a full circle moment. 5 years ago, I was the victim, powerless, begging for truth, for help. Now I hold all the cards, all the power, over every single one of them. I stand at the window, looking down at the city sprawling below me like a kingdom. The storm clouds from the previous night have cleared, leaving behind a crisp, bright sky. The transformation is complete. The final pieces of the puzzle slide into place with perfect, chilling precision. My private office, stark white walls, minimalist furniture, a single orchid on the vast desk. Across from me sits Mr. Harrison, the family lawyer father threatened me with, now looking pale and anxious. He slides a thick file across the desk. It contains the full, unvarnished truth about my father's decades of embezzlement from the Wong family foundation. The scale of it is breathtaking. Not just skimming profits, but systematic fraud, shell corporations, falsified reports. Hundreds of thousands, maybe millions, siphoned off over the years, money meant for scholarships, medical research, community programs stolen to fund my parents' extravagant lifestyle, their country club memberships, their desperate need to keep up appearances. The report details the victims, not just the foundation, but the people who should have benefited. Students denied scholarships, research projects unfunded, small charities that relied on grants that never materialized. My father's actions didn't just betray family trust, they hurt innocent people, hundreds of them. Suddenly, revenge feels small, petty. Exposing my father wouldn't just punish him, it could potentially collapse the remnants of the family business, throwing dozens of long-term innocent employees out of work. It could trigger investigations that might harm people completely unconnected to his crimes. A moral crossroads. Do I pursue the personal vendetta to its bitter end? Or do I rise above it? Grandmother Wong's final words to me back when I was just Olivia echo in my mind. Wealth isn't just privilege, child. It's responsibility. Remember that. My phone rings. Xavier. His lawyer offering anything. A public apology, controlling shares in his now struggling new venture, his undying servitude, in exchange for my silence on the faked amnesia, the personal betrayals. Click ignore. Another call. Vanessa. Sobbing, pleading for me to think of the family reputation, of our parents' health, begging me not to expose father. Click ignore. An email from mother. Cold, calculating, no apologies, just an offer. Her social connections, her influence in certain circles, in exchange for containing the scandal. Delete. A message from Diane, forwarded by her lawyer. More secrets. Dirt on competitors Xavier dealt with, information she thinks I can use. Delete. Each of them, facing the consequences, reveals their true nature. Self-preservation above all else. Greed, manipulation, cowardice. I stand at the panoramic windows, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and blood red. I reflect on the journey. From the shattered fiancé weeping over a faked illness, to the calculating billionaire orchestrating elaborate revenge, to this. This moment of decision. True power, I realize, isn't in vengeance, it's in the choice. The choice not to destroy, but perhaps to rebuild. Differently. Better. A new plan begins to form, not pure revenge, but justice. Accountability, yes. My father, my mother, Xavier, Vanessa, Diane, they will face consequences, legal and financial. But perhaps the goal isn't total annihilation. Perhaps it's about systemic change. Rehabilitating the companies affected, using my resources not just for personal satisfaction, but for the greater good. Setting up the foundation wasn't just a tool for revenge. It could be a genuine force for helping victims like those my father created. Mercy, I understand with sudden clarity, requires far greater strength than vengeance. My rebirth wasn't just a chance to punish, it was a chance to become someone better than those who hurt me. To evolve beyond the victim, beyond the avenger, into something more. An ethical power broker. The final chess move isn't about crushing my opponents. It's about choosing a different game altogether. One focused on the long-term good, not the immediate, satisfying burn of revenge. The private room at Oriole is opulent, hushed. Xavier sits opposite me, looking impeccably groomed. Designer suit, perfect hair, an expression of profound humility carefully arranged on his features. A bottle of eye-wateringly expensive Burgundy sits untouched between us. He thinks this is a negotiation, a reconciliation. He slides a thick vellum envelope across the table. Olivia. Lee, he begins, his voice low, earnest. I know apologies are not enough, but please, read this. Inside, I know, is a handwritten letter, likely drafted by a PR expert, full of remorse and promises. He doesn't wait for me to open it. He launches into his pitch, a marriage proposal. This time, he emphasizes, with an ironclad prenuptial agreement entirely in my favor. He promises public apologies, restitution, dedicating his life to making amends. He lists the assets he still possesses, the small tech consultancy he's trying to build from the ashes. All of it would be mine, under my control. He paints a picture of us rebuilding together, merging his meager resources with my empire, creating a legacy. He even dares to mention children. We had a real connection, Liv, he finishes, his voice thick with emotion. Underneath everything, it was real. Let us find that again. A single, perfectly timed tear escapes and tracks down his cheek. The performance is flawless, almost convincing. I listen silently, my face unreadable, letting the expensive silence hang in the air after he finishes his heartfelt speech. I meet his hopeful, pleading gaze. After a long pause, I utter a single word. No. Confusion replaces the humility. No, but I offered everything. Control, marriage, public. The answer is no, Xavier. My voice is quiet, calm, devoid of anger or triumph. Just finality. His mask slips. Anger flashes in his eyes, raw and ugly. The charming penitent vanishes, replaced by the thwarted narcissist. After everything I offered, you can't just... I stand up, smoothing my dress. This meeting is over. He lunges, grabbing my wrist as I turn to leave, a final desperate attempt at control. You owe me more than this. Instantly, seamlessly, two members of my security detail materialize from the shadows by the door. They gently but firmly disengage his grip and escort him, sputtering protests from the room. I walk out without a backward glance. True power requires no raised voice, no dramatic confrontation, just a simple, irrevocable refusal. Vanessa is waiting in my office, my minimalist, imposing office at the headquarters of Zhang Investments. Spread across my desk, incongruously, is a worn family photo album. Childhood pictures, us on a swing set, blowing out birthday candles, awkward teenage phases, emotional blackmail, stage 1. She launches into a tearful reminiscence. Shared jokes, sisterly secrets, childhood dreams. Remember this, Livy? She asks, pointing to a picture of us building a snowman. Her voice trembles. She apologizes profusely, blaming temporary insanity, Xavier's manipulation, her own deep-seated lifelong jealousy of me. She claims genuine, profound regret. She promises to dedicate her life to making amends, if only I'll give her a chance. She produces medical documents, stress-induced anxiety, panic attacks. She suggests we could start a small charitable project together, something to heal the rift, repair our relationship. She talks about our parents' declining health, how they need family unity now more than ever. She invokes grandmother Wang's memory, how she always wanted her granddaughters to be close. She even hints at the nieces and nephews I might have had, the family she feels she's cost me. It's a masterclass in guilt tripping. I examine the photos, the documents, her tear-streaked face. It's a calculated performance. I recognize the manipulation tactics, the same ones she used in our youth. Refined now, but just as transparent to my reborn eyes. I acknowledge the shared history, the blood connection. Yes, Vanessa, I say quietly. I remember. Hope flares in her eyes. She thinks she's broken through, reached the old Olivia hidden beneath the billionaire facade. She leans forward expectantly. I meet her gaze, my expression calm, my decision made long ago. No. The single word hangs in the air. Shock registers on her face, quickly followed by furious disbelief. The tears vanish, replaced by resentment. No? After everything I said? After everything we shared? You cold-hearted bitch! She starts gathering the photos, her movements jerky with anger. Security appears at the door, alerted by my silent signal. They escort her out, still shouting accusations, leaving the photo album behind on my desk like discarded evidence of a past I no longer inhabit. The door closes, sealing that chapter. Officially closed. The meeting takes place at the offices of Finley, Thorne & Associates, my parents' longtime legal counsel. Mr. Finley looks deeply uncomfortable. Legal documents are laid out on the polished conference table. An offer. They're prepared to sign over controlling interest in the struggling Wong family business to me, immediately, no conditions. Father launches into a rehearsed speech about legacy, tradition, blood being thicker than water. He talks about wanting to ensure the family name endures, placing it in my capable hands. Mother sits beside him, nodding encouragingly. Strategically placed photos of my childhood academic awards, visible in her open briefcase. They attempt to rewrite history, painting themselves as always supportive, always believing in me, claiming any past friction was just them trying to protect me from the harsh realities of the world. They offer to drop the ridiculous challenge to grandmother's will. They offer to dismiss all potential lawsuits. They promise to publicly acknowledge my business acumen, to sing my praises to their social circle. Father offers a stilted, reluctant apology for any misunderstandings. Mother dabs at her eyes with a lace handkerchief, pleading for family reputation, for dignity. Mr. Finley shifts uncomfortably in his chair as the tension thickens. I review the documents with cool, professional detachment. I ask a few pointed questions, not about the offer itself, but about specific line items in the company's recent financials, referencing offshore accounts I know Father controls, querying suspiciously large consulting fees paid to non-existent firms, their faces pale. They realize with growing certainty that I know. Not just about the foundation embezzlement, but about other irregularities, other secrets they thought buried. Still, they push the documents forward. The final olive branch, extended under duress. They expect me to accept. Family obligation, the chance to save the family business, the sheer weight of their parental expectation. Surely Olivia would yield. I look from my father's desperate eyes to my mother's brittle smile. I take a slow breath. No, I say, my voice quiet but firm. I push the documents back across the table, unsigned. Tucked beneath them is a slim file containing printouts. Evidence of the other financial crimes I uncovered, the ones beyond the foundation. Tax evasion, insider trading hints. Enough to ensure serious legal consequences, far beyond mere embarrassment. Stunned silence fills the room. Comprehensive rejection. There is no negotiation left. I stand and walk out, leaving them with their lawyer and the weight of their impending ruin. No drama, no accusations. Just the quiet finality of power exercised with absolute simplicity. The video call connects. Diane's face fills the screen in my office. The transformation is shocking. The once vibrant, beautiful woman is now haggard, shadows under her eyes, her hair lank, her expression etched with fear and exhaustion. The background looks like a cheap, bare room somewhere in Singapore. "Liv," she begins, her voice cracking, "please, you have to help me." She paints a desperate picture. Confined to a small radius by the authorities, dwindling funds, facing serious charges, potentially years in a foreign prison. The legal troubles are escalating, compounded by the evidence I provided. She appeals to our past. 15 years, Liv. We were friends for 15 years before everything. She claims Xavier manipulated her, preyed on her weaknesses, that she never truly meant to harm me. She even suggests she tried to warn me in subtle ways I didn't pick up on. Tears stream down her face as she describes the horrifying conditions she imagines facing in prison. She offers a final bargain, a full public confession, implicating Xavier completely, taking all the blame herself if necessary. If I just get her out, bring her home. She reminds me of childhood secrets she kept from me, times she defended me against bullies, invoking shared memories of mutual support. Remember how we always had each other's backs? She pleads. I'll dedicate my life to you, Liv. Work for you for free, anything. Just show me some mercy. I listen silently, my expression carefully neutral. But inside, for the first time, something flickers. A pang of something. Regret. Pity. The ghost of genuine affection I once felt for her. 15 years was a long time. Before Xavier, before the betrayals, our friendship had been real. My hesitation must show on my face because a desperate hope flares in Diane's eyes. She leans closer to the camera, sensing a potential opening. Liv, please. I take a breath, steeling myself. The memory of her complicity, her lies, solidifies my resolve. Friendship, once broken so profoundly, cannot be mended. But perhaps justice doesn't require utter destruction. No, Diane, I say, my voice gentle but firm. I can't interfere with the legal process, and we can't go back to how things were. The hope in her eyes dies, replaced by utter despair. Her face crumples as the last vestiges of her fight seem to drain away. I end the call before she collapses completely. Immediately, I dictate an email to my assistant. Arrange a one-way ticket for Diane Chen to Taiwan, a place with no extradition treaty for her specific charges, but where she has distant family. Wire a modest sum to a new account in her name, enough to live simply, find basic work, but not enough for luxury. Attach a list of potential low-level administrative jobs. Mercy, yes, but not forgiveness, not reconciliation. A clean break. A final lesson in consequences, tempered with a sliver of grace she didn't deserve, but which I chose to give. The press conference room at Zhang Investments headquarters is packed. Journalists jostle for position, cameras flashing, microphones held aloft. The air crackles with anticipation. They smell blood, the final act of the Wong family drama. They expect tears, recriminations, maybe even a shocking reconciliation. I walk to the podium, dressed in a sharp, dark gray suit. Professional, composed. Calm authority radiates from me. The questions start immediately, shouted from the crowd. Miss Wong, will you reconcile with your family? What about Xavier Chen? Any chance of forgiveness? Diane Chen, will you help her? What does this mean for the Wong family legacy? The public craves the emotional narrative, the messy human drama, the possibility of forgiveness after such epic betrayal. I wait for the noise to subside, then step up to the microphone. My voice cuts through the room, clear and unwavering. Thank you all for coming, I begin. There has been considerable public interest in my personal history and relationships. I pause, meeting the eyes of the journalists in the front row. Let me be unequivocal. Some bridges once burned cannot be rebuilt. A collective intake of breath. My focus now is entirely on the future. I continue, smoothly redirecting. On the work of the Wong Zhang Foundation, on the growth of Zhang Investments, and on ensuring ethical practices in all our ventures. My past connections are exactly that, in the past. I will be moving forward separately. I will not be commenting further on these personal matters. I refuse to elaborate, refuse to engage with the salacious details, the emotional undercurrents they crave. I pivot immediately to discussing new philanthropic initiatives, upcoming tech investments, the company's positive trajectory. The power isn't in the expose anymore, it's in the refusal. The refusal to be defined by the drama, the refusal to continue playing their game. The final statement is one of dignified closure, delivered with the quiet confidence of someone who has already won and has nothing left to prove. 1 year later, the Maldives. My private beach attached to a minimalist villa tucked away from the world. The sand is white, impossibly soft between my toes. Gentle waves lap against the shore in a soothing, rhythmic sigh. The sunrise paints the sky in strokes of soft orange and incandescent pink, a masterpiece of tranquility. I sit near the water's edge, legs crossed, hands resting on my knees in a simple meditation pose. Inner peace. feels real, earned. A journal lies beside me on the sand, its pages filled with the messy, complicated journey from heartbroken Olivia to vengeful Zhang Li. And finally, to this woman watching the dawn. Barefoot prints track my path from the cool villa to the warm embrace of the ocean. The air smells of salt and unseen tropical blossoms. My thoughts drift. The revenge is complete. Accounts settled, consequences delivered. But holding on to the anger, the bitterness, that felt like letting them win, even in their defeat. So I chose release, maintaining boundaries, yes. Forgiveness? Not entirely, but release, letting go. A letter arrived yesterday, forwarded from my office. From Vanessa. Thick vellum, her familiar handwriting. I instructed my assistant to return it, unopened. Some doors need to remain closed. My phone is switched off, tucked away in a drawer back at the villa. Today, peace trumps power. Silence trumps stock prices. I pick up a small, perfect seashell, its spiral intricate and beautiful. A reminder that something whole and lovely can be built, even from the fragments of what was broken. As the tide washes over my feet, cool and cleansing, I feel the last vestiges of resentment wash away with it. A smile touches my lips. Not the cold, calculated smile of Zhang Li, nor the naive grin of Olivia Wong. This one feels different, genuine, free, dawning slowly, brightly, just like the sun. 6 months prior to the Maldives sunrise, the Wang Zhang Foundation for Financial Justice officially opened its doors. The building itself is a statement. Sleek, modern, constructed with sustainable materials filled with light. A symbol of a new beginning, built on transparency and ethical principles. Its purpose is clear: to help victims of financial fraud rebuild their lives. We offer legal aid, financial counseling, job retraining programs. There's a special initiative for women financially betrayed by partners, a cause born directly from my own painful experience. We're launching educational programs in schools, teaching financial literacy and independence from a young age, empowering the next generation to avoid the traps I fell into. At the grand opening ceremony, my speech focuses entirely on the future, on the positive impact we intend to make. I don't mention my personal story despite the intense media interest. The foundation isn't about my vendetta. It's about creating a legacy beyond personal vindication. It's about transforming pain into purpose. The event is live-streamed globally, reaching millions with a message of hope and accountability. Many former Chen Tech employees, those who remain loyal or were rehired after my takeover and restructuring, attend in support. Notably absent are any members of my biological family or former inner circle. They are not part of this new chapter. The ribbon-cutting ceremony feels symbolic, severing ties with the toxic past, opening the door to a future dedicated to positive change. The Foundation's board comprises distinguished figures from finance, law, and ethics, people chosen for their integrity, not their connections. My confidence isn't feigned. It's rooted in purpose. This foundation, this work, this is the true victory, creating tangible good from the ashes of profound personal pain. Dinner tonight isn't a tense negotiation or a strategic maneuver. It's laughter filling the private dining room of my favorite, unassuming Italian restaurant downtown. Around the table sits my chosen family. Helen Sharp, my brilliant lead counsel, now a trusted friend. Ben Carter, my unflappable head of security, who knows more of my secrets than anyone. Anya Sharma, the fiercely intelligent CEO I appointed to run the rehabilitated Chen Tech, now rebranded. A few other loyal colleagues who proved their integrity during the upheavals. These relationships are built on mutual respect, shared goals, genuine camaraderie, not on obligation, manipulation, or shared blood. We discuss upcoming projects, a charity expedition Anya is organizing to build schools in Nepal, Ben's plans for implementing new tech to bring clean water to remote villages via a foundation grant. I listen more than I talk, sharing the spotlight, valuing their insights. We exchange small gifts, celebrating the foundation's successful first year. Helen raises a glass of Prosecco. To the future, she says, her eyes twinkling. And to building it with people you actually trust. We toast, the clinking of glasses warm and real. The embraces as we leave the restaurant later are genuine, a stark contrast to the cold formality and air kisses of my former life. Trust, I've learned, is earned, not given freely, and it feels good to have rebuilt it, carefully, with people worthy of it. The night air feels fresh, filled with possibility as we walk out onto the starlit street. For the first time in what feels like a lifetime, I walk unburdened. No revenge plots weighing me down, no simmering resentment clouding my thoughts, just freedom. Back in my penthouse sanctuary, high above the glittering city lights, the metropolis I now partly own, partly protect. The design is still minimalist, elegant, but it feels less like a fortress now, more like a home, a place of peace reflecting the streamlined clarity of my new life. There's only one framed photo on display. Not family, not friends. Just a simple black and white picture of Grandmother Wang, Zhang Mei Ling, taken in her youth. Fierce eyes, determined chin. The woman whose hidden legacy, whose belief in responsibility, unknowingly started this whole journey. A news alert pops up on my tablet, a small business journal feature on Xavier Chen's new tech consultancy. It seems to be gaining some traction, finding a niche. I feel nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, not even curiosity. I make a conscious decision right then to disable the low-level monitoring my security team still had on him, on Vanessa, on my parents, on Diane. Their stories are no longer intertwined with mine. Let them find their own paths, their own consequences or redemptions. It doesn't concern me anymore. There's a quiet satisfaction in that detachment, a silent growth beyond the need for retribution. I move toward the large window where a simple mat faces east, ready for my morning meditation practice. I pick up my journal, the same one from the beach. I turn to a fresh page and write, my hand firm, steady. I document the final steps, the refusals, the release. The last line I write is simple, clear. The best revenge was becoming myself. I pour a small glass of wine, raising it to the glittering city lights below. A solitary celebration. Not of victory over others, but of peace found within. A peace deeper, richer, more profound than any vengeance could ever provide.